السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد, جزاكم الله خير, my dear brothers and sisters, for joining in. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless this gathering. So inshallah we're going to continue our series. We're talking about the fiqh of worshipping. And today, brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking about another aspect of wudu, in which that we're going to be talking about what invalidate a wudu. So what kind of things that we could do that would invalidate our wudu? Okay, there are a few things that a Muslim can do that would invalidate his wudu. Okay, so so in Arabic we call it nawaqid al wudu. What would invalidate our wudu? Number one, brothers and sisters, the scholars, they say the number one thing that would invalidate our wudu is كل ما يخرج من السبيلين من القبل والدبر. That anything that comes out from our private area, meaning from like whether you urinate or whether you defecate, or in our terms, if you do number one or number two, anytime you do that, this would invalidate our wudu. Okay, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, أو جاء أحد منكم من الغائط. So if anyone, for instance, have relieved himself, then this would invalidate your wudu. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said, لا يقبل الله الصلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. He said, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not accept your salah if you have invalidated your wudu, okay, until you make wudu. So this is the number one thing, that the most common thing that anyone would have done that would invalidate their wudu. What's the second thing? زوال العقل أو تغطيته بإغماء أو نوم. So another common thing that people do not know that would invalidate your wudu is every time you lose consciousness. Like when you sleep, or you lose sanity, you're not in the right state of mind. Okay, and the most common thing is someone goes into deep sleep. Okay, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, والعين وكاء السه فمن نام فليتوضأ. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that our eye is like the one that control whether we relieve ourselves or not. So if you sleep, then make wudu. Okay, then make wudu. So and here we're talking about, brothers and sisters, deep sleep, meaning that someone laid down to sleep. Like for instance, let's say someone drunk. If someone have drunk alcohol, and drinking alcohol is haram, but would that invalidate your wudu? Of course it would, because it's the same concept. Because you're not in your right state of mind. Okay, if someone, for instance, have passed out, have lost consciousness, would that invalidate your wudu? Yes, it would. If someone, for instance, had seizures, and he lost his state of mind, would that invalidate your wudu? Yes, it would. So the general concept here, anything that would make you lose your state of mind, this would invalidate your wudu. And sleeping is one of them. Now, question here: what about if I took a short nap? Like for instance, I was in my posture, like I was sitting like this, okay, and then I slept. I took a short nap. Would that invalidate my wudu? No, it wouldn't. How can I distinguish between short nap and sleeping? That's a good question. How can I distinguish between sleeping and taking a short nap? When someone when someone is sleeping, he's laying flat, he's preparing himself to sleep. Versus someone, for instance, taking a short nap, he's still kept his posture, his back is laid on a wall, or laid on a chair, or laid on a couch, so he did not lose his posture. And the Sahaba of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to, had used to have short naps, for instance, while they're waiting for salah in the masjid, and that did not invalidate their wudu. Okay, so anything that is short, anything that is short, and that as long as it's like we're talking about here few minutes, you know, and you have not really you have not really you know lost your position, then this would not invalidate your wudu. Okay, this would not invalidate wudu. Is there any questions before we move forward? Is there any questions, guys? Whether the people who are joining the class or the people who are online, was there any question? Okay, great. Okay. Another way to invalidate your wudu is mas al farj. That if you touch your private part, like for instance, let's say for instance, you touched whether a man or a female, whether a male or a female, they have touched their private parts. This would invalidate your wudu. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man nassa dhakarahu fala yusalli hatta yatawadda." Whoever touches his private part, let him not pray until he would make wudu. So when someone, for instance, you touch your private part accidentally, or you are doing something, maybe you're possibly shaving yourself, or you are doing other things. If you touch your private parts, what would happen? This would invalidate your wudu. This would invalidate your wudu. Okay, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ayyama rajulun massa farjahu falyatawadda, wa ayyama imra'atun مست فرجها فلتتوضأ." That any male or female, if they have touched their private parts, then it's mandated for them to make wudu before they would pray. Okay. Now the next reason what would invalidate wudu. This reason have people have differed on among the scholars, which is eating the meat of a camel. Eating a meat of a camel. Some scholars said this would invalidate your wudu, and some scholars said this would not invalidate your wudu. Okay, and and there is evidences that the people have interpreted in both ways, but according to some scholars, because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one time a man came to him and he told him, "Oh Prophet of Allah, أتوضأ من لحوم الإبل? Should I make wudu every time I eat camel meat?" Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "فليتوضأ." Okay, what's the difference here? Because some people have interpreted that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have ordered the man to make wudu because he might have thought that he passed gas or etc. Okay, or passed wind. So, but again, this is different interpretation. If you follow for instance, the madhab of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal or Abu Hanifa, this is what they would believe, that it's if you eat camel meat, then you would have to make wudu. Okay. Another reason that you would obligate you to make wudu, if someone, for instance, have left Islam, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that would not apply to any of us. Why is that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالْإِيمَانِ فَقَدْ حَبِطَ عَمَلُهُ. Whoever have made kufr, who have left Islam, all his deeds have came down, or is not accepted. So with that being said, he as if he have if he made wudu, for instance, this would not apply anymore, and if let's say he went back to Islam, he would have to make wudu again. Okay, so these are the 5 things that it's obligated on you to make wudu if you have done them, and we talked about talk about them again. Number 1, if someone have passed have passed like urinated or defecated, that's number 1. Okay, if someone have lost his consciousness or lost sanity, okay, and we give examples here. Number 3, if someone have touched his private part. Okay. Number 5, if you have ate a camel meat, And number 4, if you have ate a camel meat. And number 5, if you have left Islam. Now, this is an obligation, meaning that you must do it. Okay. Now, is there reasons that is recommended for you to make wudu? Yes, there is plenty. Okay. And one of them is recommended. Yeah, it's not, you're not obligated. It's recommended for you to make wudu if you, for instance, no, I'm sorry. Let's talk, before we get to that, let's talk about when is it mandated for you to make wudu? When are you mandated to make wudu? People think only for salah. No. There's other situations where you are mandated. You must make wudu for. What are they? Number 1 is salah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "لا يقبل الله صلاة بغير طهور." That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not accept your salah without you having wudu. That's number 1. What other? Could someone else tell me what other ways or reasons that I must have wudu for?
If you touch the mushaf, you have to have wudu.
Yes, jazakallah khair. If you have touched the mushaf, you have to have wudu. So that's another reason. Okay. One more one. So there's 3 scenarios. Salah, if you have opened the mushaf, and what's the third one? Does anybody know? If you made tawaf around the Kaaba, you must make wudu. Okay? الطواف بالبيت الحرام. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فإنه توضأ ثم طاف بالبيت. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to say that he used to make wudu and then he used to make tawaf around the Kaaba. So it's you're mandated to make wudu when you are making tawaf around the Kaaba. Okay? Because what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, look at, I want you guys to see the analogy here. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, الطواف بالبيت صلاة إلا أن الله أباح فيه الكلام. Subhanallah. He said when someone make tawaf, rotate around the Kaaba, he is as he making salah. But in this salah, you're allowed to talk. Okay? So again, I'm going to say this is a very beautiful hadith. He said, الطواف بالبيت صلاة. That when you are making tawaf around the Kaaba, this is as if you are making salah. Okay? ألا إن الله أباح فيه الكلام. But the only difference about this salah, this type of prayer, is that you're allowed to talk. Okay? So again, 3 situations where you must have wudu: salah, mushaf, and making tawaf around the Kaaba. Is that clear, guys? Okay, beautiful. Jazakumullah khair. Now,
excuse me, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead. Go for it.
So if you're making tawaf and in the middle of the tawaf your wudu like invalidates, do you keep going or do you have to start over?
No, you start. So okay. Let me answer this. It's a very good question. So let's say I have made tawaf. I finished 3 rotations. Okay, and I have wudu. In my 4th one, I invalidated my wudu. So I go and make wudu, and I finish the 4th, and I start the 4th one from the beginning. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. So you don't start from number 1. Okay, you don't start from number 1. You start from the last complete tawaf that you have made. The last complete tawaf that you have made while you're making wudu. So again, if you, let's say you did 4 tawaf, 4 times you rotated around the Kaaba, and let's say in your 5th one you invalidated your wudu. So what you do, you go make wudu and then come back and you make the 5th one and the 6th one and the 7th one, and then you're done. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. Now, again, what is recommended for you to make wudu in? So we talked about things that so 2 things we talked about today. We talked about what would invalidate your wudu. Second, we talked about what would you must have wudu for. Now we're going to be talking about what is highly recommended for you to have wudu for. So it's not obligation. You're not obligated, but it's highly recommended for you to make wudu. Okay. Remembering, number 1 is remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making dhikr, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one time a man came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he told him, Assalamu alaikum. and Prophet Muhammad was making wudu. Okay, he did not answer his salam. So Prophet Muhammad, after he finished his wudu, you know, he went and he answered his salam, and he said, إنه لم يمنعني أن أرد عليك إلا إني أكره أن أذكر الله إلا على طهارة. He said, I did not answer your salam because of the fact that I did not want to mention the name of Allah except in the state of purity. Okay, so it's highly recommended that you make wudu while, but when you want to make dhikr, like if you want to say subhanallah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, it's highly recommended. But it's not an obligation. You still can make dhikr, but it's better that you make wudu while making dhikr. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is a sunnah it's an abandoned sunnah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable all of us to revive the sunnah. Is making wudu before you sleep. So you make wudu and then you go back to sleep. Prophet Muhammad said, إذا أتيت مضجعك فتوضأ وضوءك للصلاة. He said, if you want to go to sleep, make wudu as if you are making wudu for the salah. Okay, so this again is highly recommended that you would make wudu before you sleep, and that's would make your sleep better, and inshallah if you sleep in a state of purity, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God forbid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have taken your spirit and you die in the state of purity, so again, this is very highly recommended. Okay, another thing that you're highly recommended for you to make wudu is before taking a shower, and this, or while taking a shower, that you make wudu. Al-ightisal, when you take a complete body shower, it's like you start with making the wudu, and then after that you wash the rest of the body. Al-wudu'u qabla al-ightisal, that you would make wudu before you make ghusl, which is the complete body shower. Okay. Al-wudu ba'da al-akli mimma tamassahu an-nar. This is again an abandoned sunnah. Okay. No one knows this sunnah very, very well. Prophet Muhammad said, "Tawadda'u mimma massat an-nar," that you would make wudu after you have ate a hot plate. Like let's say you ate something hot, or anything that you have to heat. Whether it was any cook, after so anything that you have ate that is hot, it's highly recommended that you make wudu afterward. Again, it's a and how, brothers and sisters, how long would wait for us to make wudu? We'll talk about 1 or 2 minutes. It's not much. Okay, again, I want you to understand later on down this this talk, we're going to be talking about what is the benefits of making wudu, and we're going to be talking about a story of Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu anhu. So just hold tight, and we will talk about this in a minute. Okay. Another reason why it's highly recommended for you to make wudu is that you renew your wudu with every salah. You renew your wudu with every salah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was he used to pray all his salawat in one wudu, but it's recommended that you renew your wudu. Okay. Also, it's highly recommended that you would renew your wudu every time you invalidate it. And that's, we're going to be talking about the story of Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu anhu. So Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu anhu, one of the things that he used to do, he used to renew his wudu every time he invalidated it. Let's say he woke up, he would wake up and he would make wudu, and then let's say he went to the bathroom, he would make another wudu, and so he was always in a state of wudu. Okay, so Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one time he had a dream. Okay, he had what? A dream. He said, سمعت خشخشة صوت عليك, that I have heard. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking to Sayyidina Bilal. He told him, in the dream, I have heard the sounds of your feet walking in front of me in Jannah. I want you guys to understand this. Bilal, one of the Sahaba, Prophet Muhammad saw him walking in front of him in Jannah. Wow. So Sayyidina Bilal is walking in front of Sayyidina Muhammad in Jannah. He said, so Prophet asked him, Bima sabaqtani ilayha, why were you in front of me? It's amazing. One of the companions ahead of the Prophet in Jannah, he said, ما أذنت قط إلا صليت ركعتين ولا أصابني حدث قط إلا توضأت عنه. He said every time I used to make wudu, I used to pray 2 rak'ah. And that's, we talked about this in the past. It's one of the sunan of making wudu, that you pray 2 rak'ah. And every time I used to invalidate my wudu, I used to make it again. We used to make it again. Okay. Last but not least, okay, that the last thing that would is highly recommended for you to make wudu for, okay, is that you would, when someone is carrying a deceased person or a dead person, like let's say when you are in the janaza, like when someone have passed away, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would keep our family, our friends around us for the longest time. Let's say you went to someone who have someone's janaza and they were carrying his coffin. If you carry his coffin, it's recommended that you would make wudu. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man ghasala al-mayyit falyaghtasil." Whoever washed the body of the deceased, let him make ghusl, like he will let him wash all his body. Okay. وَمَنْ حَمَلَهُ فَلْيَتَوَضَّأ. And whoever carried him, let him make wudu. Okay. So again, if you carry him, you make wudu. And if you washed him, you wash all of your body. Okay. So inshallah, this is what I have for you for today. Bidnillahi ta'ala. Okay. And inshallah, unless someone have a question, so it's a kind of a short lesson, bidnillahi ta'ala. Only like 22 minutes. Is there any questions or any concerns, or if you guys want me to go forward, I don't know. I'm free. So, you guys have any questions or any so how about this? Let's for a few minutes, let's kind of review some of the stuff we talked about last time. Okay, let's review some of the things that we talked about last time. Okay, so last time we talked about the obligatory things for wudu, and what are the pillars of wudu. Okay, so let's kind of review some of that. Okay, what is the number one thing that we talked about is an obligation for wudu? The number one thing. We keep repeating that same question over and over. What is the number one obligation or pillar for wudu?
You have to wash your hands.
I said number one. Number one. Before that,
you have to have intention or niyyah of wudu.
yeah, Jazakallah khair. Yes, you have to have the intention. Jazakallah khair. Okay. So number one is intention. Okay. And then after that, what should we do? After we have the intention, what do we do?
You have to wash your hands.
Mouth and nose.
Yes, المضمضة والاستنشاق, that you would wash your mouth and then your nose. Okay. And then after that,
Face.
you wash your face. Okay. And what's the boundaries for the face? Does anyone remember the boundaries of the?
You have to get your whole face in with wet hands.
Okay, but what is the boundaries for the face? Remember? From the tips.
From the ear.
Yeah, from the tips of your hair all the way to your chin, and from this earlobe to this earlobe. This is considered to be a face. Okay. And then after that, after you wash your face, what do you do? Number 5.
Arms.
No. Before
You
that.
You wash your hands down to your elbow?
No, before that. So this is after washing my face. What do I do?
Hair.
What do you do with your hair?
You wipe it.
You wipe it, yeah. You wipe your hair. Wipe your hair and your ears, okay? And then after that, غسل الرجلين, that you would wash your legs, okay? And what are the 7th and the 8th pillar of wudu?
الترتيب والموالاة.
Allah yarda alayk. Jazakallah khair. So they should be in order, and they should be what? They should be one after another. Jazakallah khair. Now, what are some of the sunnah for wudu? So that's it. Here we talked about the obligations. Now I want you to talk about some of the sunnah for wudu.
Pray 2 rak'ah after you make wudu.
Beautiful. That's another sunnah. Jazakallah khair. And I hope that we practiced this past week, huh? So after you make wudu, just make it. You make it once a day. You pray after you make wudu. Pray 2 rak'ah. You know. Oh, by the way, I mean, just an FYI, who prays sunnah? Do you guys pray sunnah? Rima, do you pray sunnah?
We pray Sunnat al-Fajr.
Okay, good, beautiful. So how about this? I'm gonna give you a combo package here, okay? so you get a reward. Do you know? And inshallah we're gonna be talking about this in when we get to Salah, okay? Do you know that you could pray the same sunnah and you get the reward? How many rak'ah is the Sunnat al-Fajr?
2.
2 rak'ah. Do you know that you're able to pray Sunnat al-Fajr and you get the reward for it? Double reward. You know how? You pray the Sunnah and you say, I'm intending to pray Sunnat al-Fajr and Sunnat al-Wudu together. Do you know that's permissible? So you could have two.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you could have two intentions for this one sunnah. That's a good deal, huh? So every time you pray sunnah, whether it was the sunnah before dhuhr, or whether it was the nafil before asr, or the sunnah after maghrib, okay? You could have two intentions. I'm gonna pray the sunnah, or you could do it both ways. You could pray the sunnah and the sunnah al wudu, the sunnah for wudu, and the sunnah for the salah, or you could combine the intentions for one sunnah. Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so what other sunan that we could do that is good for us to have for wudu? So we talked about saying Bismillah, al-tasmiyah, I'll say Bismillah. It's something good to say. It's a sunnah. Also making siwak. Okay. Washing your hands. That's another sunnah. Okay. When you overdo it with madmada and istinshaq, like you do it like deeply, you're really trying to clean out your nose and mouth. Okay. Also a sunnah is that we start with our left or right hand.
Right.
With our right hand. So it's easy. This is easy stuff. Subhanallah. You could start, you start making wudu with your right hand, and automatically you get rewarded for it, because you have done a sunnah. Okay. Also, what is a sunnah for a sunnah for wudu? How many times are we supposed to repeat the washing of our face and our hands and our arms?
3 times.
3 times. Beautiful. Okay. And also the sunnah that we massage our arms when we make wudu. Okay. Also a sunnah that we make a water between our fingers and toes. Okay. And also the sunnah that we don't abuse so much water when we're using water. Okay. And that's about it. And we the last thing is that we make dua. Okay. The Prophet Muhammad, who could remind us with this short dua that we it's recommended for us to make? Very easy. It's very easy dua. Does anyone remember the dua that we should make at the end of wudu? It's very simple. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. So it's like making the shahada, okay? But at the end you say, but the first, but you add وحده لا شريك له in the beginning. So أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. That's it. You're done. That's the dua. And inshallah, if every time you do that, you get the reward for it. MashaAllah. Okay? And that's about it. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So inshallah, yani, this is a the lesson for the day with Allah Ta'ala. Inshallah, we'll still deciding whether we're going to be continue to do this during the month of Ramadan or not. So because sometimes people could be busy before iftar, but we'll see how that goes. We'll discuss this, and inshallah I'll give you guys posted with Allah Ta'ala. Okay? Is there any final questions before we end this with Allah Ta'ala?
I have a question.
Oh,
So when you're doing wudu, can you talk during wudu, or would that invalidate your wudu?
No, you could talk. You could talk. Yeah, it's not recommended to talk while you're in a bathroom. Okay, but you could talk while making wudu. Yeah, you're allowed to talk. Okay. Yeah, you're allowed to talk. But this is maybe you're thinking about being in the bathroom, like for instance, if someone like in the toilet, it's highly recommended that you shouldn't be talking, unless it's necessary. But when you can do, you could talk. You know, that's okay. Any other questions? خير إن شاء الله. جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك وبحمدك نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خير والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
جزاكم الله خير.
جزاك الله خير.